Well, good evening and welcome, everyone. I'm so glad you're here tonight for Spring Clean Your Energy, Stop the Chaos. My name is Jane Phillips, and I'm a certified medical intuitive and energy practitioner. And tonight we're going to do something really powerful together. We're going to clear away the energetic clutter that might be weighing you down and the stuff you can't always see, but definitely feel, and give you some simple tools you can use anytime you need a reset. So spring is the perfect time for renewal, not just in our homes, but in our energy fields too. Sometimes, without realizing it, we pick up fear or stress or negativity and even energies that don't belong to us. They can throw us off course, cause us to feel stuck, or create the feeling of bad luck or constant mishaps. And tonight is about taking your power back. So here's what you can expect during our time together. We'll talk about what kind of energies can cause chaos or block your happiness. And then I'm going to guide you through a live group energy clearing. So if you don't already have a glass of water with you, you might want to go get one while I'm talking about some of the other things, because you'll need that. And then lastly, I'll teach you 3 simple but powerful tools you can use anytime to stay clear, protected, and strong. And please know that you don't need to do anything perfectly that I'm teaching you. Just be open and relaxed and willing to release what no longer serves you. So this is meant to be a safe place, and it's going to be a beautiful reset for you all. So let's get started. So, question, why spring clean your energy at all? So, energetic clutter is real, and you can't see it all the time, but the impact is still there for you. So you can get emotional residue from fear and grief and anger that doesn't dissipate. So it's in your way. You can have outside influences like people and environments. And so if you have a friend who's having a really bad day or is really negative, you can pick up that energy, especially if you're empathic, meaning your energy field can pick things up and hold onto it. It's going to get in your way. And environments can also create problems for us. Have you ever walked into a room full of a crowd of people and you walk in and you go, oh, something's going on in here or just happened? You can feel it and you pick it up, but you don't really know what's going on, but it does affect you. And then you also have interference from outside sources like ghosts or darker energies. So signs that you might need an energetic spring clearing is when you're feeling stuck or unlucky or you have constant mishaps. So let's talk a little bit more about these outside influences, people and environments, how you pick up things. So restaurants and bars are particularly good places to pick up energies and take them home with you. And I call these possessions. Sometimes there are other things, but what happens is you and I pick up energetic people, possessions, or other things that are a match to our energy field. So if you go and you decide you want to go have a drink or two one evening and you go to a bar, I will bet that there are a lot of discarnate or ghost type energies hanging around the bar. They haven't crossed over to heaven or wherever that place is, and they're waiting around to get a drink or the feeling of a drink from someone like you. And if they like you well enough, they might go home with you, and that's a start. You might go home with 1, you might go home with 5. And if you've never had a drinking problem before, you might all of a sudden be compelled to drink all the time, which is not supportive. If you do have a problem with alcohol, it's just going to exacerbate it and make it worse. You can pick the energies up in restaurants. You can pick energies up at the mall. A friend of mine years ago, when I was just learning how to do this stuff, called, and she lives in Albuquerque, and I'm in Santa Fe. And she said, I have an energy on me that I picked up when I was shopping. And she knew there was something on her. And she said, can you help me? And I wasn't sure. And I said, well, I suppose I could drive down to Albuquerque. I was 60 miles away. The freeway was pretty fast, but it's still 60 miles. And she said, well, can't you do something by phone? And I thought, well, I don't know if I can, but I'm going to try. So I felt into it with the psychic abilities I had at the time and discovered that she had an 80-year-old woman on her. And this woman was looking for her daughter, and she thought my friend was her daughter. And so as we explored this psychically and I was connecting into this energy that was on my friend, I discovered that the woman had been hanging around her daughter in ghost form. She was out of body, but not a spirit yet. And her daughter had finally died. And so the woman is busy looking for her daughter and she can't find her because her daughter's crossed to heaven. And so I don't remember exactly what I did. It's been a long time, but we opened up the white light, and the person that showed up to welcome this lady home was her daughter who had crossed over. And so this woman then went to the light, kind of like in the movies, and my friend was free of her, and the woman got to be where she needed to go. So there's all sorts of ways we pick things up. I've mentioned other times about hospitals. Hospitals were known to, because many people have died in the hospitals and they haven't gone somewhere. So just be aware that there are a lot of environments where you can pick energies up that will affect you. Funerals and weddings, if you're an empath, you might not pick up a ghost type energy, but you might pick up the emotions of the people at the event. And because you're an empath, those linger on with you. So I'm not going to make this specifically about empaths this time. I've done that in another podcast that I have. But anyway, so there are lots of different ways we can get these energies on us, and it's helpful to help them move on. And so the signs that I tell people to kind of pay attention to and notice is when you're feeling stuck or chaotic, or you have a whole series of like unlucky things going on and nothing seems to be going right, there may be a reason that is related to having energies on you. Sometimes it's just for your learning and it's not fun, but if you have a lot of other energies on you, it can create bad luck. It can make you unstable. It can make you physically unstable. You might be more likely to fall or trip or misplaced. It can make you mentally unaware in some ways. One of the issues I have as a psychic is I sometimes misplace things that are right in front of me just because I've picked up some energies. And one of the things that I have shared is that when I'm going through the traffic circles that we have, the roundabouts that we have here and also in Oregon where I was, if I'm about to go into a roundabout, you always look to your left to make sure nobody's coming. And there would be occasions, especially when I was in Oregon, I just got back about half a year ago. I would look, see nobody, start into the roundabout, and some car would whip right by me. And I'd be startled and I'd say, I know I looked, I know. And so either I was absent-minded or I really was prevented from seeing it. And if it happened a second time, I would pull over into a parking lot and clear myself. So it's kind of like, I'm going to teach you some things. And if you start to notice that some odd things that happen, don't just chalk it up to whatever, bad day or whatever, but take a moment to use some of the protocols I've given you to see if clearing your energy will turn things around. I think I've talked about enough of this. You can have environmental stress, you can have entities, personal energy leaks, which is you releasing things to other people. So what I tell people is you can attract people that match your vibration. And one of the things that happens, that I tell this story, it always makes everybody laugh because people are worried if I say they have possessions, which is ghosts, basically ghost type energies. So if you have enough of these ghost type energies on you, it's because it's a vibrational match. And what do I mean by that? So what I mean is if you are depressed a lot, or if you have anxiety, or maybe you're the other side, you're easy easily angered. So if there's somebody who has died, who is not crossed over to heaven or wherever that place is, the universe, and they're hanging around and they see you being depressed, and they were depressed when they passed, they might want to hang on with you, hang around, because the way I explain it makes people laugh is, oh, they're depressed and so was I, and they'll understand me, so I'm going to hang on that person. And then somebody else who is depressed, who's died, will see you and say, are we forming a community? And all of a sudden, your depression goes through the roof. It's awful. Or if your anger is your issue, you might be more and more angry. Or anxious, you might be more and more anxious because you've got a vibrational match. There's just so many ways we can pick up energies, and nobody really deals with this when our luck is bad. And I want to give people some tools so they can move forward more easily. So what we're going to do now is, now that you have a better understanding of what can cause energetic chaos or just feeling off and things not going right, I'd like to guide you through a group clearing to help you release any stuck, heavy, or disruptive energies that you might be carrying. And you don't need to do anything special. As I mentioned earlier, I want you to have water, so make sure you get some water. And if you're looking at this on a replay, then just hit pause and get your water and come back, because when we're releasing energy, it helps to have water in our system. It helps the energy not get stuck as it's leaving. So you don't need to do anything special. I just want you to get comfortable. I'm assuming if you're on a replay that you're not driving or walking. So you can close your eyes if you'd like, or simply soften your gaze. And then take a nice deep breath in and let it out slowly and just relax. There we go. Now I'm going to be working energetically with this group as a whole, helping clear old emotional residue, outside interference, and anything you're ready to let go of. And I'm able to clear a lot of people at once. That didn't used to be the case. And the tools I'm going to give you later, you may try and do a lot of people. I would recommend you are going to just stick to taking care of yourself. Let's begin. So I am a professional dowser. This is my pendulum. And this is an Isis pendulum. This part is the sacred geometry, and the bottom part is a gold hue, and it helps the clearing. So this is going to speed up the clearing. And when I'm removing things, it's going to go what looks to you like clockwise, but it's counterclockwise when I'm removing things. So now I'm going to ask for all obstruction and interference to be removed in this work, and that everything I'm doing for you, for all of you, is for your best and highest good in the name of the light. So it's going counterclockwise in my world to remove the interference. And so now I'm going to imagine, and you are going to imagine with me, a white light vortex above your head. And I'm going to ask that any possessions, which is ghost-like energies that you have on you, these are discarnate energies. You and I are incarnate. Carne meaning flesh. So in the flesh, discarnate meaning out of the flesh. So possessions are ghost-like energies. We're going to invite them to cross to the light. And we're going to ask that each of these energies, I'm not going to figure out how many possessions each of you have. Each of them gets 30,000 angels, Archangel Michael, Mother Mary, Jesus, Archangel Raphael, Uriel, and Gabriel. And we invite these energies to cross to the light, to whomever would welcome them home with love and acceptance. And so in your mind's eye, you're going to imagine seeing these energies, these ghost-like energies floating up on a beam of light. It'll help them move on quicker. And my pendulum will stop when you're cleared. And even if you're looking at this on a replay, it will work. It does not have to be live to work. You're just going to focus. And the other piece, this is a protocol I'm going to give you and we'll talk about later. If for some reason I'm using Christian symbols that doesn't resonate with you, you can switch some of this out. The big piece, though, is that you're giving a lot of support. I would recommend all four archangels I mentioned and the 30,000 angels. And also welcoming them home, inviting them to go home where they will be welcomed home with love and acceptance is key. Some of these energies are afraid to go home because they've been told they'll be judged. Nobody likes judgment. They will go through a life review, but that's for learning, that's not for judgment. Some of these energies are afraid to go because they're afraid of who they'll see, because they may have harmed somebody or they may have been harmed by somebody. There are a variety of reasons why these energies have not crossed over. So sending them home where they're going to be welcomed home with love and acceptance is a very big piece of what I offer with this protocol we're doing. So just imagine, see all these energies leaving. And when my pendulum stops, these possessions will be cleared. The next piece is there's something that I discovered that's called hidden possessions. And these are the ones that are really afraid. So for anybody who has hidden possessions, meaning they're really reluctant to go, we ask each of them to be given a blanket and bubble wrap. Bubble wrap, I discovered after I was told to use this idea, that it's to help them, these energies that be encapsulated so they can go home safely, but it's also opaque, so they're not totally in the dark and they'll be able to see they're headed toward the light. And they each get 50,000 angels, Archangel Michael, Mother Mary, Jesus, Archangel Raphael, Uriel, and Gabriel. And we invite these energies to cross to the light, to whomever would welcome them home with love and acceptance. And again, my pendulum will stop. There's usually less of these energies. Great. The next thing is targets and tags. So a target allows darker energies to shoot at you. That's something I discovered. And we ask my guides to go and remove any targets that you might have on you that allow the darker energies to shoot. They look like archery targets or the target symbol from the store. Okay, and now there's something called tags. And tags are like cookies on our computer that allow us to be tracked by darker energies. And so they look like pin cushions or on bulletin boards. Yeah, pins on bulletin boards. So we ask to remove any tags that you have. Great. And then there's something called unaware possessions. And those just look, I don't know, a friend found them. So they look like little bees or something coming out of a hole. Anyway, I asked for 100,000 angels to go to each of you that has these type of possessions and help triage them, which is a hospital term, help them figure out where they need to go. And they don't all go to the light. So that's why we're using the triage message. So the next thing I'm going to do is called Ho'oponopono. You do have a handout for that. And what that does is something that I discovered a while ago. I'll explain it further on when we get there. But it's a 4-part prayer, this Hawaiian prayer, that seems to help energies move on more quickly without having to know a whole bunch of extra protocols. So the 4-part prayer is I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. So I just repeat that over and over. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And I'll repeat it over and over in my head. You can say it for yourself. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. Okay. All right. Now the next thing is there are some things that need a little extra support, and what we've done so far doesn't cover that. So the next thing I want to do is remove any parts of you that might be under the influence of the dark side. That's from watching the news, or somebody tells you something that's maybe not exactly right. Any dark side influence, you could be watching something that's conspiracy, any of that. So we're going to remove any part of you that's under the influence of the dark side, and then turn those parts previously under the influence of the dark now to be under the influence of the light. And now I want to go, and I'm going to cut psychic cords. These are cords that you might have, energy hookups between other people. So I ask Archangel Michael to come with his sword and shield and cut and remove any psychic cords that you have between any other people, energies, entities, or beings that are not for your best and highest good. Burn these cords in the violet flame of Saint Germain and scatter the ashes. And now I'd like to go and neutralize any negative astrology that you might have. And I'd like to adjust your frequency to its ideal frequency. So if you're too ramped up in some way, too anxious, nervous, depressed, whatever, we're going to just get your frequency lowered. So that it puts you in a calmer place. And now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to raise some energy for you. So I'd like to raise your life force to 100%. So now my pendulum is going in a clockwise manner to raise your life force to 100%. I ask to raise your energy level to the highest appropriate energy level and bring you into balance and harmony with earth energies. I'd now like to balance your right and left brain. Balance your brain chemistry. And balance the tones, that sound, of your bones, muscles, tendons, and flesh. Okay, and then the last thing we're going to do is called Saint Michael's Screen. This is Archangel Michael. Apparently, I learned this about 20 years ago. Archangel Michael comes with a golden net and the whales, dolphins, and fishes. And this net looks like a fisherman's net with fairly big holes. So we now ask the whales, dolphins, and fishes to pull the golden net through each of you. It'll start at your feet and go all the way up to the top of your head. Pull the golden net through you to take to the light the energies that's not for your best and highest good. And because we've cleared all these other energies off, it'll only take a minute or so. Okay, so now just get quiet for a minute and take a notice of how you're feeling. Are you lighter, maybe calmer, and maybe even feeling a little bit more spacious inside, a little bit more room? And remember that clearing energy like this is kind of like clearing a garden. We're pulling out weeds or things that are getting in your way to make space for new growth. And so right now you've created fresh space for more peace and clarity and positive experiences to flow in. And the other piece that I like to let people know is when I'm clearing energy with people and when you're doing this kind of work, sometimes the energy is leaving you through the top of your head. And sometimes you get a headache because it gets stuck on the way up. Sometimes it's your throat. Sometimes I've had it people's ears. But anyway, it gets stuck. So if for some reason you have a bit of a headache, you can imagine that you have holes in the top of your head, kind of like a salt shaker, or you can make them bigger. They can be big. And just imagine that the stuck energy is leaving through the top of your head. It might look like smoke coming out. Sometimes it looks like little geysers of air, but just focus your attention to release this energy out through the top of your head. And it can take a minute or two. So if you're on the replay, feel free to just pause it and focus on releasing the energy that's stuck. Okay, good. So now that we've cleared the clutter, I want to give you 3 simple tools that you can use to start right away to start clearing and protecting yourself. And everybody who received this podcast information got these 3 tools, and they may have, anyway, I'm going to show them again for you. So hang on a minute while I share my screen. Okay, great. So this first tool we already used, and it's Ho'oponopono. And it says, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And this is the Hawaiian prayer that I used with you earlier. I want you to have it because it's so beneficial for clearing. I discovered this by watching a video with Joe Vitale and a Dr. Wu Lin from Hawaii. And what impressed me and made me decide to try it, because I'd heard about it before, was that Dr. Wu Lin was hired to be the psychologist or psychiatrist for a hospital for the men, the criminally insane. They were criminals who were locked up because they were insane. And he said they could hire him, but he would not talk to any of these people, but he would take care of it. He would do his best. And what he would do is he would read the files of these people and be horrified by what they did. And he would start saying this prayer over and over and over for them. And how I understood it from watching the video is that Ho'oponopono assumes that anything that anyone else is going through, that you and I are responsible also for it, because we're part of all that is of God, the universe, whatever. And so therefore, we're part of the creation of what's going on. Now, I will tell you intellectually, I don't understand that, and that's fine. And I'm not asking you to either. I just have found, whether I understood it or not, that it works. And what I did was I started out giving it an example, trying it. And and the piece I almost forgot to mention is within 3 years, the mental hospital was totally closed down. There was nobody there. They'd either maybe died or they'd moved out and were well again. They still might be in prison, but anyway, they did not need that facility. And so I'm not sure what happened to the building. It was a mess. There were toilets were flushing all the time, and they couldn't get the paint to stop peeling and all of that. But anyway, that impressed me, the closed hospital. So I used it. I was clearing a house for somebody, and I was intending to use it for the people. And I placed my hand on my piece of paper that I'd written all the details down, and I covered also the property address. And so when I was done doing it, when I felt like my pendulum had stopped and I was done doing it, I checked and I found there were a few things that it didn't clear. And those are 4 things that I did with you separately. And I'm not going to teach you that. That's for another time, maybe, or if you want a private session to find out those other things, but they aren't as crucial. But what I also found is I went to go through my list of things to check for on the house, and I couldn't find anything the matter with the property energetically. And I was like shocked, and I thought, there's a mistake. My pendulum's wrong, something. But I said, okay, I'm going to ask, before I did Ho'oponopono and included the property, what was there? And I have a checklist of things that I check for. Some are there infrequently, but there are other things that are generally always there, and there was nothing. And I was able to get a whole list of everything that was there before I did Ho'oponopono. So I went, wow, this is amazing. And so I then wrote down everything that was there before, and I went and double checked it. And even though I'd found nothing before, there were a couple things on there that weren't completely done, but mostly. And so I thought, I've got to use this, and I have to teach it to people because of the benefit. So this is something you can do for yourself when things aren't going well. You can do it for your property. You can do it for friends. I would say start with yourself and get a feel for how it helps you. And then you can move on to your family. Don't get too carried away. I do lots of, I've been doing this for 20 years almost. So I've been using things a lot. But anyway, so this is a first step of clearing, is to do Ho'oponopono. So the next thing that I want to talk about is the ghost busting thing, the possession thing that I used. And you might end up wanting to start with this if you feel like you've been messed up and you're having a bad day. Start with possessions, but do Ho'oponopono second. So I'm going to share, I gave you this also. And if you're seeing this as a replay and you weren't invited to the podcast webinar that I'm doing here, you'll have to ask me for these, or just pause the slide and write it down. So I want to do the next thing, which is the ghost removal protocol. I have a lot of people, when I'm sharing some of these things, think they're not going to do it right. And the thing of it is, that's why I've written these protocols down. Just do it and assume you're doing it right. There's no wrong doing it. So this is ghost or possession removal protocols. It also works for houses and spaces. As I said earlier, you might want to just do one thing at a time. So ask to open the white light above your head, or the person you're clearing, or the space being cleared. If you're trying to do a house, I can clear a full house using some of this. I would recommend that you start with room by room, because I don't know I have a pretty strong team of energies that support me. And so if you have like a bedroom that doesn't feel right or an office that feels off, you can try this in those spaces, but do one room at a time. In the old days, this is what I had to do anyway, before I had a strong team. And then you're going to ask for the following support team for each of these ghosts or possessions. And you can try and get a count of how many you have first, but if you're not a professional dowser and you don't do this all the time, don't worry about that. Anything is better to do than nothing. Just because you can't get a count doesn't matter. So what you're going to ask for is for each of the possessions that you have, whether you know the number or not, you're going to ask for they each to receive 30,000 angels. I know it's a lot. It used to be 10 when I first started. The energies on the planet have changed a lot, and there's a lot more to deal with. So I was guided a while ago to do 30,000 angels. I asked for Archangel Michael to come. He's a protector. I asked for Mother Mary and Jesus to come. These are Christian symbols. Mary, for me, is a very strong energy, almost like a light collective. And I won't explain what that means, but very strong energy. And Jesus, just because I was raised Christian, if you want to substitute for Mother Mary and Jesus other energies, you can, if your faith doesn't buy into this. I also asked for Archangel Raphael, Archangel Uriel, and Archangel Gabriel. And these four archangels, Michael, Raphael, Uriel, and Gabriel, all serve a purpose. Michael is the protector for these energies that are going home, giving them safe passage. Raphael is a healer. That's his energy. So is working on healing these possessions that are crossing. Uriel provides wisdom, and Gabriel, or Gabriel, I believe Gabriel is female, is for communication. And then if you've got a particularly stubborn energy, which I did separately when I cleared all of you, you can ask to give them a blanket and bubble wrap them. And as I mentioned earlier, bubble wrapping was given to me as an idea, and it's to help them these energies to be contained and also be safe when they travel back. So this is the energies that you're asking as a support team for each and every possession. It's not for all of them getting this one group. It's for each and every one so that they have as much support as possible. And then we ask, and again, just ask the possessions be shown the light, in the light, those energies that would welcome them home with love and acceptance. And as I mentioned earlier, this is super key because a lot of these energies are afraid to go home because of who they're going to see or that they're going to be judged. There are a lot of reasons why after someone passes or dies that they don't leave the earth plane. And that's a whole seminar in itself. So just make sure that you ask that they cross to the light to be welcomed home with love and acceptance, which is key. And then in your mind's eye, just imagine that you see a white light and that these energies are floating up through the light, kind of like in the movies, if you've seen any ghost type movies. And just watch, just pay attention. And even if you can't see anything really, just imagine, because you can imagine that. And then depending on if you dowse or any of that kinesiology, you can check to see if they're gone. That is not important. It's just an idea. So what I read in a book, and it feels to be kind of true, is that when somebody dies and is ready to cross and you're helping them cross, it takes about 3 Earth days for them to actually get kind of out of the earth plane. So I tell people if you're removing an energy on, that you don't mention that person or energy that you're moving on, or the fact that you did it for at least 3 days, because you energetically could call them back, and you don't want to call them back. They can feel your feel you calling them by mentioning them. So you want to not do that. So the last piece we're going to do, which I will share, is St. Michael's screen. This is the whales, dolphins, and fishes thing that we had. So let me get to that. And I have to find it, so hang on. So here we are. So if you've attended, if you signed up for the webinar, you will have this. If you don't, you'll have to take a screenshot. So St. Michael's screen is St. Michael coming to help remove any remaining energies off of you or somebody or in your room. When I first started doing energy clearings of houses, what I had to do was I would run this screen room by room through each house I was in, and I had to be on site to do it. So you ask for a white light vortex to be opened above your head. You're clearing yourself in this example. You ask Archangel Michael to come with the whales, dolphins, and fishes and golden net. And you ask the whales, dolphins, and fishes to pull the golden net through you to take to the light the energies that are not for your best and highest good. If you're doing it for a room, you can just imagine in your mind, it starts, by the way, this net starts at your feet and runs through the top of your head. If it's a room, it starts at the floor and runs out through the roof. And I have found when I'm on site and I'm doing this, that both myself and my client can see where the net is on the wall as it goes up. And the second part of this is St. Michael's screen, which is a fine gauge platinum, gold, and silver net. So the first one, you ask the white light, you ask Archangel Michael to come with the whales, dolphins, and fishes and golden net, and you ask that they pull the net through you or the room, or if you're doing for another person, to take to the light the energies that are not for your or the room's or the other person's best and highest good. Sometimes you feel you need a little extra scrub, and so you can bring a fine gauge platinum, gold, and silver net. And if you need to do that, same idea, open the white light vortex above your head, ask Archangel Michael to come with the whales, dolphins, and fishes, and then ask and fine gauge platinum, gold, and silver net. And you ask the whales, dolphins, and fishes to pull the golden net or the platinum, gold, and silver net through the room, you or the other person, to take to the light the energies that are not for your best and highest good. And just use the languaging. Don't worry that you don't know if you opened a white light vortex. If you ask for it, it's going to happen. All right? All right. So moving forward, we're ready to close out this webinar. So I just want to put a little plug in that if you ever want some extra support clearing deeper patterns that you might have as a medical intuitive, besides just these energies, I do remove thought patterns from the quantum world that might be getting in your way, so they no longer impede you. But if you'd like some extra support clearing deeper patterns and you'd like to learn even more personalized tools than what I just gave you today, I'm always available for private sessions, and you can find more information or book a time with me at janecphillips.com. And that's my landing page. It will put you through to my ghostbusting.org website and my intuitivemedicalhealer.com website. And you can book a session with me, or if you just are curious about whether I can help you in some way, you can sign up for a 20-minute free consult and we'll figure out together whether I can help you out. So at this point, we're over with our webinar tonight. And so I'd like to do a little closing blessing for you. So as we close tonight, May the light within you shine even brighter. May your path feel clearer and lighter. And may peace, protection, and new beginnings gently flow into your life. You are loved, you are guided, and you are never alone. And thank you all for being here tonight and for the gift of your beautiful energy. And take good care of yourselves. And I look forward to our next adventure together. Jane Phillips.